Good afternoon and welcome. Our invocation this morning is by past President Tom Crow.
Thank you, Katie. Today's innovation, since we have a speaker on innovation, we're going to have a prayer for innovation. God, you're truly the why behind the what of our desire to innovate. Please ignite a fire in us to ever inquire of you when we face challenges that require breakthrough solutions that only you can provide. May we never rely on our own intelligence, but seek first your insight and wisdom that you can protect us from needless failure. Guide us into right solutions, result in gaining leadership credibility and joy for our followers. From this starting point, we pursue innovation. Amen.
Thank you, Tom. And our song leader this morning is Sidra Kane. See, I told you I was glad you were doing it.
Okay, thank you. We're going to do America the Beautiful. So, oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Sidra makes us all sound good. Thank you, Sidra. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Our Sergeant at Arms today is Russ Swain.
Hey, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Past President Russ Swain here. You know, everybody shouldn't be groaning about that. Let's have a good time today, right?
To save my voice today.
That's right. Absolutely. How can I be of service?
We have international visitors today. I believe we do. Well, okay, we don't. Excuse me. We have a visitor from the Internet Club, which is international.
Okay.
So, and he's sitting at the head table.
Right at the head table. Here we go. Hi, Keith. Welcome to Las Vegas Rotary.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Keith Blackie. I'm currently just retired and moved to the Las Vegas area. But before that, I spent 6 years in Iraq, starting the Girl Scout and Boy Scout program there, funded by the Rotary. Thank you very much. We now have 11,000 girls and boys in the scouting program in Iraq. I came home. We appreciate the clap, let me tell you. I came home for 1 year, was invited to go to Afghanistan. We now have 12,000 girls and boys in the scout program in Afghanistan. While I was there, I helped start the very first Rotary Club in Afghanistan, the Rotary Club of Kabul City. I was forced to come home about 2 years ago as a result of Taliban occupation. I was a founding member of the Rotary Club for Global Action. It's an e-club with 38 members located in 21 different countries. You ought to try to attend one of those Zoom meetings. So, and thank you for welcoming me. I really appreciate it.
Do we have any other visiting Rotarians?
Wait, okay, I call me that way. I hear somebody call my name.
You got long legs,
Yeah,
move 'em.
let's go, baby. Well,
Thanks, Russ. I'm Jim Ludwig. I'm the president of the E-Club, which is a virtual Rotary club. I live in Las Vegas, but I travel a lot. That's why I joined an E-Club. It's District 5190, which is Northern Nevada and Eastern California. So that's where we're based, although we have members not in 21 countries, only one, but as far away as Maine and Florida, but predominantly Nevada and California. I'm in my 5th Rotary Club, 35 years of Rotary, and I love Las Vegas, and you might see me more often, okay?
Good, welcome. Do we have any other visiting Rotarians? Do we have guests of Rotarians?
guests of Rotarians. Here we go.
Annie has a guest.
Rod Tucker.
Right.
I'm gonna be Russ's guest today, and this is the last time we're gonna call me a guest of Rotary until I make it through your new induction process. Should I survive it? I did bring my daughter with me, Chloe. Please stand up. Chloe spends most of her time traveling. She's convinced other people how to pay her to do it. So she and her husband and their child, they run around the world and tell people about how much fun they're having, and they actually compensate them for doing it. She's in town for a few days before they leave for Finland on Monday, and she wanted to come to Rotary with me.
Nice, welcome.
Welcome, you guys. Well, not yet. It's guests of Rotarian. He wants to jump in right now. Is that a
No,
fine?
you're on the agenda later. Just sit.
We have an agenda here, and you're not. What, we got other guests. Any other guests back here? I'm gonna come right up this way here.
In the middle.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant at Arms. We have a guest of the club, Eric Schimler from the UNLV Foundation. He's seriously looking at our club and hoping that he's going to join us soon. Welcome.
Nice, welcome back.
Annie Nuna. Hello.
Hello. Hello, everybody. I have a very special friend of mine. I want to first introduce her to the club. Her name is Nancy Wolf. Okay, well, that's okay. She's a neuroscientist, and I am going to twist her arm. I'm going to make her join our club. Okay. And I also would like her to be one day our speaker, because you guys will really be very, very interested in what she has to say. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Annie, and welcome, Nancy.
Oh. Hello, Janice.
Hi, everyone. I want to introduce Sylvia Wolf. She's with Pacific Auction. We've worked with her before. I'm giving her a little plug. I'll probably get fined. She's going to be at our centennial meeting to talk about auction, and she works with about 8 other Rotary clubs in a variety of different capacities. So welcome.
And is there somebody at the table behind? No, they all look familiar. Okay, I'd like to take a moment and introduce the head table today. We are honored to have our district governor here, Roger Gutierrez, District Administrator Tom Novotny, our guest Keith Blakely, our speaker Don Jacobson, who will be more fully introduced in a few minutes by our speaker chairman Greg McGuire. So welcome to our head table. Tina Bishop, you are going to do a centennial.
Hi, Tina.
I got you with your mouth full.
So I wanted to talk to everybody about the centennial program we've been working on. Looks like it's going to be about 16 to 20 pages, very classy, 8.5 by 11. We're looking for advertising, or if you would like to put in an ad that just says, congratulations to Rotary. There's a sign up in the green book with various different sizes. But the important thing is the deadlines, and March 1st is the deadline for the ad. March 15th will be the final deadline for corrections and so forth before we go to print.
Thanks, Tina. Okay, Tucker, now it's your turn. What?
Jim Tucker, you were in big. We're going to be talking to you at the end of the presentation.
You are.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's going to
Well,
cost you
Katie,
money.
I will say that we sold out the Super Bowl board 2 weeks early. And I want to thank everybody that got in on the program. It's a good benefit to our foundation to the amount of $2,500. And good luck to the players.
Thank you, Jim. David Jones, the 25 Club.
Thank you, President Katie. I was going to say, Jim already took my one announcement. Super Bowl sold out. So thank you, everybody. Second one, 25 Club is having our educational social next Thursday evening. Nancy Anderson's home. She's going to provide dinner. So it's 6 o'clock, not 6:30. So if you show up at 6:30, you'll just miss out on the enchiladas. But I understand that there's going to be some other food. If you don't like enchiladas, you can come and have that as well. Also, we're going to have Jim Hunt is going to give a brief educational regarding some of our historical facts about our club, as well as we're going to have Carrie Grow. There's Carrie. She's going to give for 25 club members an overview of the committees, of directors, all of those things. So good educational, a lot of fun, and good food. So please come next Thursday, 6 o'clock. Nancy Anderson, and her address is going to be up here.
Thanks, David.
Thanks.
Renee Gamero.
Over there.
All right, here we go.
Thank you, Russ. Well, a few things. First, we still have a couple of spots available for a combination of both speech and Don Stover music contest happening in about 4 and 5 weeks respectively. We're very excited for that. Always a great event. But also, Ryla, tonight I'm going to be sitting in on training for the new online form and all of that. So by next week, I hope to have all of the forms ready for all of you to fill out. I know several here. We have several students that we want to send to that. So that should be very exciting. March 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Lastly, if you want to volunteer, let's say you don't have a high schooler that you want to nominate for this, but you're interested in attending, it will be a life-changing experience for you as well. March 23rd, 24th, and 25th, you're picked up here Friday morning, taken up to Cedar Camp in the Big Bear area, where you will spend 2 nights, 3 days, changing the minds of the future of our country. So hope that you're interested in attending, and thank you.
Thanks, Renee. Marie Walsh. There she is.
Hello, Marie.
Thank you, President Katie. I'm talking to you about Reading Week, which is at all schools on February the 27th through March the 3rd. You've already received an email about Beckley, signing up with Beckley. You will be receiving other information from other liaisons for all the other schools. Please come and support our kids. Thank you.
Thanks, Marie. Melanie Muldowney. Is Melanie here?
I do not see her.
Is
President
Nikki
Katie.
Bates here? Okay, well, I was going to have them talk about our new member orientation. We'll just hold on to that.
Okay.
Past President Jim Hunt.
Good timing. On the screen, you're going to see some nice creative work by David Jones. I want to thank him for that. The cigar social we're going to be having coming up. Smile. Pause and smile. Okay, so also want to thank Karen Wisenhunt for the flyer that's in the wheel. She created that. And we're going to have a great time. I mean, St. Patrick's Day falls on a Friday this year.
And as many of you have heard, Tom Krob is going to be selling his home soon, that we all enjoyed partying there for 30 years or more. So if you haven't had a chance to do that yet, it's beautiful on the 15th hole at TPC on a Friday night, 6 p.m. The money goes to the foundation. We've raised thousands of dollars doing this. If you're not a cigar smoker, that's fine. If you're new to this, just come anyways and enjoy the food, the fellowship. The family of Rotary helps out a great deal with some of the food. It is a potluck. If you'd like to bring something, we appreciate that. I've already gotten some raffle gifts from Karen Wisenhunt, and Janice just told me she's got some for me. If you would like to donate anything cigar related or not cigar related for the raffle, please do so. We raise a lot of money that way. And as I say, it's a whopping $10 per person to come out to the social. We'll have food and beer. Again, potluck. Bring your own specialty drinks if you want that. Put it on your calendar now because it's going to be a good party.
Thanks, Jim. Past President Ginger Anderson.
Back and forth. Yeah. Getting some steps in today, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're covering some ground. So as you might remember, we have several youth educational programs that we have sponsored at the Smith Center. A student matinee performance of Kodo is right around the corner on February 8th. That's a Wednesday, just under 2 weeks away. We have a chance to, hold on, pause and smile. We have a couple of volunteer opportunities for the matinee. We need about 6 people to arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning. Students will be there about 9:20, and the performance will begin at 10:15. And if you'd like to stay for the performance, you are welcome. So if you want to help out, let me know or let Sean know, and we'll see you there, February 8th.
I'm excited. We did this program for our centennial program, and people have asked about being able to attend or help out at some of these performances. So we finally have an opportunity. So I'd like to take a minute and thank all the people that set up today, Dr. Kathy Mahan, John Hopke, Debbie Howard, and Dr. Michael Williams for being greeters, Marie Walsh for selling tickets, and our scribe, Jason Frederico, Jim Tucker, our photographer, Austin Wyrick is doing our AV today, and our cleanup, Susan Ziobro and Dr. Michael Williams. Thank you all. Janice, do you want to take a minute and thank the Centennial Committee?
If you are on the committee for our centennial, I would like you to stand up right now because you guys have been working very hard and you need to be acknowledged.
That's kind of like asking the whole room to stand up.
Look at Austin. We thank you for your continued support. Why aren't you up? Now you have to stand up by yourself. Stand up. Thank you. Thank you guys for your continued work, and everybody else in the room, please appreciate how much has evolved, especially with all the other things that people have going on in their life, including full-time jobs, etc. So you're to be commended. Thank you.
And Rosalie, you wanted to make an announcement about something you were doing for the wheel. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, I am going to do the drawing now, and before we do our speaker, our pot today at the end of last week was $3,052, and the ticket number to draw the joker is 4652593. Bob Warner. Seriously? You're a lucky guy. You just buy lots of tickets. Okay. It is fair because you do support your club very generously. Thank you for your contribution. For $50 in Lowry bucks, the ticket number is 465-2580. Brock Frazier. No? Oh, you had your hand up. Oh, didn't you just win? Okay, all right. I trust you. There you go. Okay. And the third ticket for a ticket to the Centennial Celebration that was generously donated by Tom Thomas, 4652671. Anybody? 4652671. Crickets. Sean, can we get another ticket drawn? Let Roger pull a ticket. Okay, thank you. Okay, 4652739. Good. Great, Brian. Okay, thank you. And you will be on the list and receive your ticket. Great, thank you. And I have one more little thing. Somebody left their date book here last week. So if this belongs to anybody, I'll leave it right up here. Somebody's day timer. Somebody's action day. Okay. Yes, we'll take a quick picture of the head table. There we go. Thank you. And I'd like to ask Greg McGuire to come up and introduce our speaker today.
All right, thanks, President Katie, for the meeting so far. So before I go on, I heard, Jim, that there's going to be a leprechaun that shows up on St. Patrick's Day disguised as a DJ. So you all want to come out to that night because that's going to be a great night. So we're gonna rock out TPC 15th hole. So it's my pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, Don Jacobson. Many of you know that I was in the Navy. One of the things I did in the Navy, I was on the strategic studies group. We looked at the future of the Navy 30 to 50 years down the road. And people might go, why does the Navy care what's going on 30 to 50 years down the road? Well, it's because we build these big things called aircraft carriers, and we want to kind of know if they're going to be relevant, 50 years down the road. So Don gets to host or to lead an organization for the city of Las Vegas. He's been with the city for over 25 years. And it's just the same type of thing. Why do we need an innovation center in the city of Las Vegas? It's because we build stuff. We build a lot of stuff, and we have a lot of people here. We have more people moving here every day. So we want to know that we're doing our best to stay ahead of technology. And Don's got probably the best job, my perspective, in the city, because he gets to interact with all these kind of companies, all these kind of products, technology. And then the best part about the city of Las Vegas is they put it to work. They're willing to take risk. You see all the cars going around, ZooX and all the autonomous cars. We host CES. We just had it a couple weeks ago. Those kind of technologies, city of Las Vegas has said, we want to be on the forefront of that. And Don's going to talk to us about some of those things that they're working on, how that relates to us. So as we're talking about our past 100th anniversary, we're also looking towards the future. And with that, Don, welcome.
Yes, thank you. While he's getting the clicker, I wanted to, I got to work this half of the room when I came in, but I have my calling card here. It's a gaming chip. So I'd like to have this box passed around the room and everybody can get my card. Okay, great. First of all, let me say that I really appreciate being invited to speak to you today. I love the energy in the room. I love the camaraderie in the room. It's way different than most of the meetings that I'm involved in the city. Usually when we have meetings, it's because the house is on fire. So I think my slides are going through without me touching it. There we go. Very good. So as you all know, Las Vegas is a medium-sized city as far as cities in the United States go. We get a lot of visitors. We were on pace pre-pandemic to hit by 2025, 52 million visitors a year. I think this year we'll probably hit around 42, 44 million visitors. So what does that really mean? That means that in addition to the 2.5 million or so people who reside in the Las Vegas Valley, there's another 750,000 and eventually 1 million extra people coming into the Valley each and every week. And all those people, when they get here, they want to be entertained, they want to move around, they want to feel safe. And it's part of the city's job to ensure that not only the residents of the Valley, but also all of our visitors have a good time while they're here, because we have a very unique economy, and that about half of our economy is either in the gaming and hospitality industry or in industries that are adjacent with that. 21,000 conventions, and of those 21,000, I probably hear from about 20,000 of them, because many of those conventions, like anything today, has a technology element to it. And in the example that was given earlier by Greg, if an autonomous vehicle wants to operate, and by the way, that's a driverless vehicle. If an autonomous vehicle wants to operate on our city streets, it needs to communicate with our traffic signal system. It needs to know when a light is red, yellow, green, when a pedestrian sign is on or off, what the speed limit is. And so we have infrastructure that they put their equipment into. So we get first crack at all of that. And we were one of the first cities to enable autonomous vehicles to operate on the streets. I'll get to a little bit more to that a little later in my presentation. So I'm not going to read all of this. I'll just say this. Everything is connected. My refrigerator at home will give me a quarterly report that tells me that if I had better refrigerator door management skills, that I would save X kilowatt hours by not opening and closing it. Refrigerators today, they can be social hubs. They can also recognize when your inventory in your refrigerator is down and order you new goods to be delivered, which is absolutely amazing to me. The city of Las Vegas, we have approximately 12,000 items, I'll call them, that are connected to the internet. We're also privy to the data from probably another 70 or 80,000 objects or items that are connected to the internet. These range from everything from, as I mentioned, the traffic signal systems to environmental health sensors to your phone. So I work in an innovation center that was opened in 2019. I recently opened the second one in 2021. Those innovation centers are home to about 2,000 startups, and those startups are in all varieties of industry. And we're in the center of an innovation district, which comprises mainly the downtown area. The whole purpose of the district and the innovation centers is to allow someone like me, a mid-level bureaucrat, I'm by no means an executive. I have no budget, I have no staff, but I have a playground in which I can do experiments with all sorts of technologies and work with those many conference and convention organizers to ensure that when they're demonstrating their product or service to their customers, that they work when the time comes. So I mentioned we live in the digital innovation age. All of you probably carry a smartphone around with you. When I first started in the information technology field, and I do work for the IT department of the city, I had a manual typewriter, I had a rotary phone. And my prior career was with the Department of Energy, supporting the Nevada test site and Nellis Air Force Base. And so I got to have the privilege of working on some of the earliest technologies, such as the ARPANET, which was the predecessor to the internet. And it was a way that we could communicate with the research labs and research universities that were involved in our nuclear weapons program and nuclear testing program. I switched over to the city in the year 2000, if anybody remembers the Y2K here, the big non-event that occurred. So after 20 years of working with the feds, I decided local government was going to be my thing. Oh. So this is the innovation district that I mentioned in the downtown area. There's multiple districts in the downtown area. A very fast-growing medical district, which now is home to the University of Nevada's new medical school. The arts district, which is also a booming area with lots of microbreweries, coffee places, restaurants, as well as art galleries, and the home to First Friday, which if you haven't been to First Friday, you really need to go. It's quite an event culturally and socially. The north of that is a less vibrant area. It's called the historic West Side. And in addition to many of the technological advances that I have the privilege of working with, I also have the opportunity to work with technologies that are very simple, but provide a very important service. In the historic West Side, many of the households there did not, prior to the pandemic, have internet access. Just too costly to pay Cox or whomever for their internet. So when the pandemic occurred, these students had to work from home. We wanted a way for them to connect to the Clark County School District network so that they could receive their assignments, do their homework, and so on. So what we established in the historic West Side was what was called a citizen broadband radio service. It's basically a cellular service, first private one owned by a local government. And what this enabled was all the households there to be connected to the internet at no cost. So initially it was just for the students at the home so they could do their homework and interact with their class. But eventually we expanded it to include all members of the household, because you have to do more than just being connected to the school district. You have to be able to browse the internet so that you can do your research and so forth. And for the parents and others in the household, for them to maybe upskill their skills or look for jobs. So the next thing that we have going on with the historic West Side, and I'll probably get to that in a couple slides, has to do with our medical district. So this playground that I mentioned, basically I can conduct experiments anywhere in this district. And I'll give you an example. Out in front of my office is a one-way street, 4th Street. And I can tell you anecdotally, occasionally traffic goes the wrong direction on that street. But I can't tell you that 24/7. But now with cameras today, I know 24/7 how many cars go the wrong way. With video analytics, I also know what was the behavior of the car before it went the wrong way, what was the behavior of the car, the driver, once they realized they were going the wrong way. And so I can do different experiments with different use cases. So I can hypothesize, for example, that if we had better enforcement in the area, that would reduce them. Or I could hypothesize that better signage or traffic furniture like bollards will do it, the trick. Or maybe it's a heads-up display in the car, digital signage on the street. Any number of ways that can help possibly resolve the problem of wrong way driving. So what I can do with each of those hypotheses, I can run an experiment using the video analytics. And I can determine after the course of say 90 days or 180 days looking at the data, determine which of those hypotheses is most true and therefore most likely to be the solution that the city wants to implement. So what I can do is I can inform the people who are the executives, the people with the budget, the people with the staff, on what are their requirements truly for reducing or eliminating wrong way driving. So in the past, what we used to do in city government, we used to do, we'd gather requirements from a department. We'd publish what was called a request for proposal. It would go out to multiple vendors. Those vendors would all respond. They'd all provide us demonstrations of their product or their solution. A committee, and there's many committees in the city, would select one of those. We'd sign a contract. We'd spend millions of dollars, many months, sometimes even years, and we would implement a solution that didn't work for us at all. So you can see why reversing it and allowing me to do no cost experimentations, and let me tell you, I'm one person, right? I don't cost the city millions of dollars. Me as the one person working with all the vendors out there, I can better inform the people on how to spend the money. And that's very important because in the city, I like to say we have 50,000 of everything. We have 50,000 streetlights. We have 50,000 manhole covers. And so for us to scale up to that size, we need to start much smaller. We need to initially work with 6 streetlights or 6 traffic signals. And that's what I do with the experiments. And so I can inform like Public Works, for example, on what would be the best solution for them to pursue. This is just another map of the district. It was established in 2015. And you can see the most important thing right there. It says resolution developed to allow city staff to establish policies and procedures. Guess what? I'm that city staff. I can write those policies. I can do those procedures. I have free reign. I cut through a lot of bureaucratic red tape in order to do that. The makeup of the district, I mentioned all of our assets, the traffic signal and timing system, our health sensors such as carbon monoxide, heat, and for example. So what I can do is an experiment, and I'll talk about mobility here very briefly. I can have sensors that tell me the heat is going up in an area, carbon monoxide is going up in the area, and I can have video that tells me the traffic on 4th Street is backing up and the traffic on the other streets is not heavy. So what I can do is using what's called edge computing, where the computer makes the decision, not a human, to change the signal timing. So instead of 30-second green light on each of on 4th Street, on each of the streets that cross it, it can change to allow 4th Street to have 1 minute green signal, and the others to only have 15 seconds. And then when the sensors indicate that carbon monoxide's gone down, heat's gone down, and with the video, we can tell that the traffic is flowing more smoothly, then edge computing could restore the normal traffic signal phasing and timing that we have. So a lot of stuff that computers can do for us that in the past people did. This is just another one. This is actually security sensors. Video cameras are very great. We can teach with machine learning, teach the computer to identify what is normal. So like in Fremont Street experience, for example, if someone were to drop a glass, it has a certain acoustic signature. If somebody were to throw a glass up against the wall, it sounds different to the computer. And so if you drop the glass, you're probably just drunk. If you threw the glass, you're probably belligerent. And so a notification can go out to our marshals to probably check out the area. So a smart city in City of Las Vegas is recognized globally as one of the leading smart cities in North America. I've had the privilege of traveling to places as diverse as Dubai and Dublin to share with them the experiences in the city. And honestly, I really could go on for hours, but I'll only go on another 5 minutes here because I would like to get to the Q&A part. In our city, we have built a leadership network with many, many community partners, as well as many partners out there in the private sector. We've set a vision, and that vision is to be the leading smart city in the North America by the year 2025. As I mentioned, we have multiple different pursuits that we're doing with different technologies, everything from autonomous and connected vehicles to drones. And the whole idea behind all of this is we want to promote economic growth. We want to promote jobs. And when you do that, then what you get is money attracts money. So if you spend a little bit, we find that for every dollar that we spend in the district, we get about $30 in like money from the private sector to allow us to do a lot with very little in our budget. So this is the model, the partnerships, the public-private. The city cannot do it alone. We have many local government agencies we work with, everything from the Regional Transportation Commission, Department of Transportation, other local municipalities on lots of initiatives. And then the technology incubators, that is what my innovation centers are for. I'm both an accelerator and an incubator to startups. So I take would-be entrepreneurs and I have boot camps for them. And I also have what we call pitch sessions where they can work on their pitch that they'll eventually be giving to a venture capitalist or an angel investor to attract money for their business. And then I give them a safe space to work for a year or two in my center before they're successful and attracted even more money. And then I can push them out of the nest, so to speak, so they can fly on their own. These are some of our partners. This is another example of some of our projects that we have going on. This is our connected corridor. What this enables us to do is traffic that's in the area. We can both take information from our infrastructure as well as information from the vehicle, and we can help deploy resources or take other measures. This was the first autonomous shuttle operating on an open public thoroughfare. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to ride on it. It was a couple of years ago down in the downtown district. This was in partnership with AAA, because AAA wanted to know, what do people think of autonomous vehicles? Let's give them a ride in one. Let's survey them after they take the ride and help the AAA determine how many people potentially are going to switch from driving their own vehicle to let the vehicle drive them around. They learned a lot. We learned a lot with the data. We learned enough that when a $50 million federal grant came available from the Department of Transportation to expand this shuttle service, we got a portion of that. And so what we'll be having in the next year or two is we will have a shuttle like this that will operate between our medical district and the historic West Side, so that people who live in the historic West Side, who traditionally did not have a private vehicle to get to the doctor, had to rely on public transportation, or in some cases even walk over to the medical district, they will now be able to, from a website or an app, we haven't determined what ultimately we want to do for the registration, they can indicate their appointment in the medical district. The shuttle will be dispatched, will pick them up, drop them off at their appointment, and then pick them up when they're done and take them back to their household. The whole idea of that is to improve health outcomes in that area, whether it's prenatal care or it's senior care. So this is an example of where we don't necessarily generate the data ourselves. When you drive around, if you have a late model vehicle, your car is sending out data into the airwaves. And one of those data sets is traction. So in this example here, we get notifications of where a vehicle has lost traction. And so if there's a cluster of them, we can dispatch a public works crew to go out there and see, why are all these vehicles losing traction? And it could be loose sand, it could be standing water, it could be potholes. So this is an example of where we didn't have to spend any money. All we had to do is capture data out of the airwaves that your vehicles are generating all the time to help us address a service that we provide, which is having safe streets. just more examples. This is my innovation center. I hope you have the opportunity to visit it. I also hold many events there. So if any of you work for a business or an agency and you're looking for a spot downtown, I can accommodate up to 50 people for our events. I have great audio visual, great Wi-Fi in there. So just hit me up. While the innovate.vegas website is one way to contact me, it's very easy to remember my email address. I'm Don Jacobson, so my email is djacobson, and that's with an O at the end, S-O-N, at Las Vegas, Nevada, which is all spelled out, .gov. And lastly, city council, the elected officials are really ultimately who is my boss, and their boss are the constituents. So every year the council has a retreat, and they come back from the retreat and they tell me and all the 3,000 other cities, employees in the city, these are the focus areas for 2023. These are the areas. They're very broad, but anything that I do in the innovation centers, in the innovation district, anything that any department in the city does, and there are not a lot of departments in the city. As I mentioned, we only have 3,000 employees. We don't do health and human services. We don't run an airport. We don't provide utilities other than stormwater. Anything that we do needs to be tied to these areas of focus. And finally, here's the next steps. We did initially back in 2019, we did come up with a mission. Our mission has since changed primarily by the pandemic. Our goals have changed. If you were to Google transparent Las Vegas, you will see our mission and our goals. You will also be able to drill down to see our progress towards those goals, drill down even further, and you can get to the actual data behind those performance measures. We need to refine our work plan. In other words, what are we going to do operationally? Because as I mentioned, there's only one Don, and Don's looking forward to retirement soon. Defining our stakeholder expectations, that includes the electeds, the community, the businesses, and the visitors coming into Las Vegas, and positioning ourselves for future opportunities. That's the easiest part of my job, because I mentioned with all of the conventions and conferences coming into town, I am totally hooked up for the future. We have out there on the internet, if you were to Google 2050 plan, City of Las Vegas, that's how far we look into the future, not 50 years, about 25 years in the future. You'll see every aspect of what we're looking at, what Las Vegas we think will look like in the year 2050, and how to get us there and still have sustainable, livable, enjoyable neighborhoods. And exploring demonstration technologies. At any given time, I have 12 projects going on in the innovation district that I can demonstrate not only to my boss and the elected officials, I can demonstrate to other public agencies and demonstrate to the private sector. And then finally, establish innovation website. That's on the gaming chip that I handed out today. It's called innovate.vegas. As I mentioned, that's one way to get a hold of me. The other way to get a hold of me is through my city email address. And with that, not sure how far I am, probably 20, 25 minutes. Do I have time for a quick Q&A? Any questions from the floor? Yes.
I got you. Come on, man.
Thank you for being here, Don. As someone that attends CES for quite a while, it's exciting to see some of the prototypes coming into actual use. My question is, with the autonomous vehicles that you've seen on our roads already, have there been any accidents that we've learned either how to make improvements in software or hardware? And do you have any little examples of maybe?
I'll give you an example. The shuttle that I showed in the one slide, very first day, it's going, and this was for a press event. It's traveling and it senses, because it has these things bristle with technology. They have video technology. They have LiDAR, which is a type of radar. noticed that a truck was backing out of an alley, a truck that delivered food, I think, to a local restaurant. So the shuttle was programmed to, if something's coming at you, stop, right? Don't run into it. So it stopped, but it didn't back up. So this truck slowly backed into our shuttle. So that was a lesson learned on the first day. We need to put in the lines of code. If it's coming at you, if a vehicle is coming at you, and there is a way for you to take evasive action, either by going backwards or turning left or right, go ahead and take that action. We work with Lyft and Uber. Both you can take an autonomous ride share right now. The vehicles, some of them are BMWs, some are Hyundais. I think when you sign up for the app and you go to request a vehicle, you can actually say, I'd like an autonomous ride. There's also that are ones I'll call semi-autonomous, like Halo, for example. It's a car rental. So autonomously, someone is driving the vehicle to you at curbside at the airport. You take over the vehicle, you drive it yourself for whatever amount of time you're here, drive it back to the airport, get out of the vehicle, and then autonomously it drives back to the lot or to the next person who's waiting for the car. We get to see all of their data. And that's one thing in IT, I'm all about the data, right? I'm all about mashing up the data, and I'm all about making that data transparent. So I have an open data portal. If you were to go to that City of Las Vegas transparency, you will see dozens and dozens of data sets that I have had a committee vet and publish out there because I want other people to make use of the data that we have. Because we're kind of a leader in the Valley on doing that, there's other agencies like Metropolitan Police Department, Southern Nevada Health District, that put their data on our portal for people to consume. So I'll give you an example. And by the way, when I first mentioned this to the elected officials, they all just about fainted, threw me out of the room. Because by putting out there, for example, every expenditure in the city, in addition to the budget, and basically we have an open checkbook. You can see every dime the city has spent, what it's been spent on and to, right? So somebody could mash up that data with, say, political contributions and could say, well, it's amazing that this elected official received contributions from this business. And oh, by the way, this business received $3 million in spending by the city. There could be some occurrences there. I haven't seen anything in the papers yet that you can suggest that. But now that we've had the portal open for about 5 years, the Sunlight Foundation, which is the leading agency that looks at open data, says we are among the top 3 for transparency in terms of quantity of data and quality of data. So go check it out. You can make use of the data. I'll give you one example. The most requested term on the city website is somebody I know in your jail, right? So we have out there a data set, all the bookings at our jail. We also have the data for all the bookings in the county jail, North Las Vegas, Henderson, because depending on where you get arrested, you're going to be at a different jail. So somebody could take that data set, they could create an app, like call it Where's My Uncle, right? And on there, you could enter the name, you could see if they got booked, which jail they got booked into, maybe have an ad supported for a bail bondsman on there, directions to get to it. So lots of things that we would encourage people to do with our data. We don't necessarily have the time or resources to do ourselves. Question. And cut me off anytime you want, Kate.
Well, my question is very simple. How come if the speed is 45 miles an hour and you go 45, you catch every red light? If you go 55, you catch all the green lights.
Mercifully, I can blame that on the Regional Transportation Commission, not the City of Las Vegas. That's called, there's an acronym for it, FAST. It's called the Freeway Arterial Signal Timing and Phasing. And basically what that enables an autonomous or a semi-autonomous vehicle to do is they can travel through Henderson, City of Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, on into the county, and it's still going to be the same traffic signal system. I do not know why that algorithm does that. And I will tell you, everything's controlled by an algorithm these days. Yes.
Don, thank you for coming here today. Smart cities should be an incredible basis for engine for innovation, growth, diversification. I'm very interested in that. But if you look around the country at some of the magnets for innovation and growth, Austin, Texas, Silicon Valley, Boston, Rolling Door, North Carolina, the one thing they have that we don't have is a world-class leading graduate university with recognized professors who are able to actually push students out and create stuff. I know you're the city of Las Vegas, you're not UNLV, you're not the university, but what's happening here that perhaps maybe will create that world-class university that will drive innovation?
Yes, and I will, to UNLV's credit, for anybody who, I'm a graduate of UNLV, and anybody who's from UNLV here, UNLV Foundation, I think you're in the back. It is a tier 1 research university. They have a leading engineering department. We do a lot of our experimentation with the engineering department. I'll tell you this, we struggle to attract talent, but we did a campaign through our Economic and Urban Development Department about a year ago to attract remote workers, right? So maybe we're not necessarily producing the workers today with the skill set that we in the city of Las Vegas need and others to be a vibrant, diverse economy need, but we can attract them. And so we have gone to Silicon Valley, we've gone to Austin, we've gone to those other hotspots, and we've let the people know there that you live in a very expensive city, that's very crowded, has terrible traffic and all those downsides. Guess what? With remote working, you could do that in Las Vegas. Enjoy the tax advantages, enjoy our healthy lifestyle, or our great weather, golf, whatever it is. So that's the initial thing that the city of Las Vegas could do, was to attract remote workers. I will tell that we've had mixed results, because one thing people ask for, probably the first thing they ask for, do you have an incentive, right? Will you give me $3,000 to move to Las Vegas? Will you guarantee me a job? So we've created, I believe it's a 76-page document. It's digitized, so people can get electronically. And when people pose those type of questions, I can refer them to that, because it's basically the frequently asked questions about being a remote worker in Las Vegas, and what, other than cash incentives, we can do to encourage them to come here. So I know that didn't quite answer your question, but we're doing what we can in the city and working with the research university. Yes.
Yes, thank you for being here. My question is about water.
Oh, yes, water.
As master gardener of 50 years, we've been trying to get people to get rid of their grass, get rid of their sod. And now it's 50 years later, and it's upon us. The last, inlet, whatever you want to call it, 10 years ago, as deep as we could go in Lake Mead. What are your calculations for when we run out of water in Las Vegas? Or is that even an issue? Have the casinos already strung a deal with whoever up north, and it's just all whatever?
I'll tell you what, I'll put my engineering hat on, and I'll say that ultimately it's going to be an engineering problem with an engineering solution. Nevada is a basin and range state. In fact, Nevada, I think, is Spanish for snow cap. All the precipitation that comes into Nevada, whether it's in the form of rainfall or snow, stays in Nevada. There are no rivers that flow out of Nevada. Unfortunately, there's none that flow into Nevada either. There are great underground aquifers, which we used to have one in the Las Vegas Valley until we tapped it pretty much dry, that could be tapped into. So will it be some wells and reservoirs and pipelines coming into Vegas? Possibly. I will tell you this, there are agencies much more powerful than the City of Las Vegas Network. Colorado River Authority, the Southern Nevada Water Authority, which I saw just recently approved pipelines basically to Apex out there in the northeast part of town, so that they could build more logistics warehouses or what have you. even though there's no more water to go through those pipelines, but it's just a delivery infrastructure for the water. I will tell you this, one of the startups that I had in my center for about 18 months was called Rotary. They came out of our Desert Research Institute with the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and they work in the water quality, water delivery, water security space. Fantastic people to work with, brilliant scientists. I would put them right up there with the neuroscientists. So in the city work with the smaller startups, but I'm sure there's others like the more powerful agencies I mentioned that work with bigger startups, bigger organizations and companies that ultimately will address and solve the problem. Sustainability is a big, big issue. Thankfully, I'm not a politician, so I don't have any easy answers.
Couple questions. The first one I think is a short question. There used to be a provider that provided free Wi-Fi downtown. Do they still do that? And number two, there's a lot of new residential coming downtown. And are you doing anything to create kind of super smart homes or interconnect or use data related that way?
I got two good answers. So yes, there was Wi-Fi. Technology was not ready yet. There were radars and other things that were deployed downtown. It kind of worked, but it wasn't nearly at the speed that was necessary. And it was kind of ad supported, and nobody likes ad supported, right? They don't want to get something for free, but then have to be basically give their information to somebody to target them for future ads. So that went away. So what the city is doing now with that citizen band radio service that I mentioned, which kind of works like cellular, we're expanding it beyond the historic west side into the downtown area so that people will have high-speed Wi-Fi access. We already have deployed that into our city parks and pools and other community centers so that people, when they're at those city assets, they have free, non-ad supported Wi-Fi. Regarding the smart homes or a smart community, the area out there in Summerlin, the master plan community out there, has a big new area that's coming online probably over the next 5 years, thousands of more homes. Those homes will have, and I will say this about the valley, because we're so young and most of the things have been built in the last 30 years, we have very good fiber, very good glass to connect homes. Ultimately, the physical connection, that fiber, is going to go away. Everything's going to be 5G or 6G. And so what we've done, where I was saying money attracts money, our innovation district, so popular with all the people that have been able to do experiments in there, that the Open Grid Alliance, which is a consortium of companies that are in the telecom architecture space, things like Intel, T-Mobile, they have named our innovation district as the nation's first grid innovation zone. So what that means is all of the partners in that consortium are going to be doing experiments with 5G and 6G technology in our district so that we can successfully experiment with it and determine how scalable, how sustainable, how feasible is it to expand in other areas. And in addition to the innovation district where we have that grid innovation zone, we're working with the master plan community to ensure that all the households up there can take advantage of whether it's the Nest thermostat or being able to unlock and lock your home with an app on your phone, that's all supported. All right. Sorry, no more questions, Katie.
Don, thank you so much for being here with us today. I'd like to present you with our Soul Power Award, which represents a pair of shoes for a needy child.
Great. I appreciate the volunteerism that's shown by the organization. I know you have like about 1.5 million members worldwide and like 400 million volunteer hours. That's tremendous that a service organization like you does that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce our district governor, Roger Gutierrez. Roger joined Rotary, a new Rotary club in Irwindale, California in 1984. He served as a member of the board of directors and ultimately club president in 1989. Roger spearheaded a merger with the Rotary Club of Foothills Sunrise in Glendora, California in 1993. There he was a club president in 2001 and 2002. After losing membership, he again orchestrated a merge in 2005 with the Rotary Club of Azusa, California. Roger served as assistant governor from 2010 to 2013, then executive assistant governor for 5 years. He has been a district membership chair, chief of staff, RLI, PETS facilitator, master SSA at district conference and at PETS. Originally, Roger has served on a focal meter project with his wife, Sheila, who 28 years ago started fitting eyeglasses on children in Mexico, giving better reading ability to over 1,600 children. Roger has attained the major donor level 1 and is working towards level 2. He is passionate about the service Rotary provides to the local community, and globally 3 times he has been named Rotarian of the Year. So please help me welcome District Governor Roger Gutierrez.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. It's really an honor to be here and serve as governor. And I know we're getting late on time, but let me. One thing I shared with the board of directors is that I asked for no money, no projects, no events. It's all about the clubs, and that's what has been the theme all year. So one thing we've done this year that's unprecedented in Rotary is that we have 4 clubs celebrating 100 years of service. Obviously, right? Your club, Las Vegas, the Monrovia, California, Upland, California, and Ontario, California, all, and no other district, on the planet has done that. So we tried to get Jennifer Jones for your celebration, but she is just told, basically the final line was, she cannot appear in person, but she did send a link for a video to play at the celebration event. So we will be going through it with that. Now, our district conference this year is here in Las Vegas. And 2 weeks after we signed the contract for Bally's, it turns out they're going to renovate and they're going to come back as the Horseshoe. So that's May 4th, 5th, and 6th. And we're looking to celebrate and do a lot of celebration. One on Friday evening, which I've already asked your club to help us with, is we're going to have a theme that Forever Kids and Clark County Summerlin Rotary have been working with. And that's a theme to dump the trash. There's so many of the foster children, when they move from home to home, have trash bags to put their personal effects in. Well, we're providing them suitcases to give them some dignity and respect. And that's what our event will be Friday night. We're going to have up to 100 children, we hope, to stuff the suitcases and then hand them out to the children. Saturday night, we're going to have the Parade of Champions, because that's what I decided to do with President-elect this year, is ask them each to select a club champion within their clubs. And in just a couple minutes, I'm going to present the club champion, and I'm going to announce them, and then we'll acknowledge them, and then I'll read the bio that President Katie had done for him. We'll present him with a certificate and a pin. Peace Conference, we have 3 sessions coming up this year, 2 virtual and 1 in person. The in-person one is in the Richard Nixon Museum and Library on March 18th, from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. And the guest speaker we were very fortunate to get is John Henko, who is the RI General Secretary and CEO. Also, with Jennifer Jones being our first Rotary International President, we have a second selected. And she will be following the gentleman coming in this year, the Scotsman, and she is the RI President nominee, and she's from Pennsylvania. And Stephanie Urchik,
So right away, and I'm hearing down the line, the third or fourth, maybe one or two. So the women will be coming through and taking over, as I said. RI President-elect mission next year will be the priority basically will be mental health awareness, which is well overdue, and I shared all this with the board of directors earlier. And they are looking at 3 priorities in mental health illness: destigmatizing conversations around emotional well-being, raising awareness of mental health needs, advancing access to mental health services. We all are aware that that's a huge need right now, and that will be our mission starting next year. Or we're starting already, so and moving forward with that. Now, one thing that was in the articles I was reading, and when John Chase did the Person of Action Award a few years ago as governor, and deciding to have the club champion, was a commencement speech at Stanford University given by the Google CEO. And he stated that four words that encapsulated years of research on the psychology of human motivation: reward efforts, not outcomes. And that I think we've all agreed to and seen the results of. Therefore, I have the honor of presenting the club champion for the Rotary Club of Las Vegas, Tom Kropp. Here he is. Okay, I'm going to read Tom's bio, and we'll have him come up and accept his plaque. President Katie said the recognition of club champion of the Rotary Club of Las Vegas is awarded to Tom Kropp. Tom is a longtime member of our club. He's not only a past president, but has served in many club and district positions over the years. He's an expert on budget and personnel matters. He and Jane have graciously hosted many events in their home. He has always been a steady influence and wise advisor to all of us. Tom, come forward, please. Yeah, we have the plaque here presented from District 5300, Club Champion Citation, presented to Tom Kropp, Rotary Club of Las Vegas, the state, January 26, 26 January 2023, signed by yours truly, Rotary International Director Victor Pulitz, and a pin. In that pin, it says Club Champion 22-23 Rotary International with a diamond stud in the middle. Congratulations. Thank you. Great job.
Well, this is an award that I never expected to receive. Thank you, Katie, for nominating me. Everybody here has always helped out on this Rotary Club, so I'm no exception to that. I'm glad that I'm here to thank everybody for being Rotarians. You've all done so much for this club, and I'm just pleased that I get to receive your recognition. So thank you.
Roger, thank you for being with us today. There's a meeting of the foundation board immediately following this meeting in the vintage room, and the Centennial Committee is meeting in the back of this room immediately following the meeting. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.